Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review, and finally we're starting to get a little bit back on track with the album releases this year, so I'm going to have plenty of stuff to babble about. One of the first ones, I saw this was coming out actually, I don't know, in the last year I think they announced it, or when I first saw it anyway, and it is the new album from Bonfire. It's the first one with their new singer. First album of new material with their new singer. They actually got this vocalist name, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Dean Mayer. He was just going by Dean for a while there on the other albums, but now he has a last name apparently. And they have a new drummer called Fabio Alessandrini. I think that's how it's pronounced. They are I think they're a German band actually, so it's kind of an interesting addition there. I don't know where these two guys are from, but originally they were a German band. I discovered these guys like way back, early 20s, late teens, early 20s, I don't remember, but the album Fireworks, I've done that in my Overlooked Gems. They actually re-recorded that whole album there, but I just remember getting that album. I don't even remember why I picked it up. It's just, I used to just go to the store and just look at albums. If they look cool and the band looked cool, I would just take a chance. And this is one of those ones I know I did that with, and I got it, and I instantly fell in love with that album. And of course, I went and got the first one after that, and then from that point on I kept getting them. But they've changed members a few times. Unfortunately, they don't have that same singer anymore, and his name is escaping me, and I can't believe that it is because I've listened to this band forever. But it still has Hans Ziller, who's been with them pretty much. I think he was actually out for a little bit too. There's a whole deal going on. There's all kinds of drama with this band. They've changed names. They had different members. He was out. They had a different one. They've had a couple different singers here as well. And man, it's just the style has completely changed. I think there's actually one point in time where it was the bassist they had was doing all the lead vocals for a little bit. Not on any albums or anything, but if I'm not mistaken, I remember watching some stuff online where he was doing all the singing, and so they've had their share of drama and their ups and downs and everything. But so my main point of saying all that is, if you're a fan of the band, from back then, this album is not like that, like really much at all. They sound like a completely different band, pretty much because they are. The songwriting is not really much reminiscent of what was back then. I know bands, they change and they have to expand their horizons and whatnot, but I never really am a fan when bands just completely abandoned what they were. I mean, it works for some, I guess. Like there's a handful here and there that it works for, but so anyway, doesn't make this a bad album. This is actually a really good album. I listened to it probably 3 or 4 times through here. Got it yesterday, and I already knew what the vocalist sounded like, and he's a killer vocalist. Does a great job. Doesn't sound anything like previous vocalists they've had. He's got a lot higher range, which is fine. I mean, I understand bands change vocalists and stuff. The only thing that sounded reminiscent at all to me in here, they had a cool little intro. I'm not usually big on intros, but the intro to this Nostradamus was short, and it actually kind of went into the song I Will Rise pretty good. That was a good start to the album. The song I Will Rise had a riff very similar to the earlier days. It didn't continue through the rest of the song with that same energy, but that one was, I'll give them that, was a little reminiscent. Good song. And the title track, Higher Ground, also very memorable. I actually enjoyed the first, I guess it's just 2 songs. I don't count Nostradamus as a song. That was pretty good. The next 2, however, I Died Tonight and Lost All Control, were kind of fell flat for me. Nothing really stood out memorable. Like that's one problem I have with this whole album. It's like there was nothing really instantly memorable. Like I said, good musicianship though. I mean, killer vocals. The guitar playing's great. Production's top notch. Bass, drums locked in. It's got more of the modern, production sound where it sounds like they went in, quantized everything, lined everything up. There's nothing really loose feeling about this album at all. Some people like that. I prefer the looser feeling myself, but that's just the way things are nowadays. A lot of the bands just doing a lot of the cutting and lining everything up just right, and I don't know, for me it's not what I would prefer, but it doesn't make it sound bad. It just makes it feel less human feeling to me. That's just my personal opinion. Other people may disagree with that. That's just my personal opinion. I will say that the ballad on here, When Love Comes Down, it had a little different feel than most. I mean, it's still a power ballad. It had the what sounded like a real acoustic guitar strumming instead of just picking and getting really slow and mellow during the verses and then big. It kind of was there pretty much through the whole song. As far as just the strumming and main part of the mix, and it didn't just disappear when other instruments came in. I actually thought that was a little different than what I'm used to hearing. I mean, you'd have to hear, I guess, more to understand exactly what I'm saying, but it was actually a prominent part of the song for the entire song instead of just disappearing when the distorted guitars come in. So I thought that was pretty cool. However, from this point on, they got Fallen, Come Hell or High Water, Jealousy, and Spinning in the Black. If you were to put one of those on right now, even though I've listened to it 3-4 times through, I actually don't remember how many times I listened to this, but I couldn't tell you which one was which from the start. I mean, obviously when it gets to the chorus and they start saying the words, I could, but yeah, that just kind of loses me there. And the only other little nitpicky thing I kind of skipped over with When Love Comes Down is lyrically, and I'll give them, I don't think any of them English is their first language, and it had some of the cheesiest lyrics I've ever heard. They're a little rough, but cool song, cool melody, so I let it slide. When I'm listening to it, sometimes it's hard to ignore that stuff, but knowing it's probably not, they don't know how cheesy it translates into English, I'll let that go. But it was a little rough. And the one thing I thought was actually interesting was they did a 2024 version, they're calling it here, of Rock and Roll Survivor, which I don't know, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, was probably the best song on the whole album. That was kind of like what you would expect to hear from a Bonfire album, catchy, memorable, obviously because it's an older song. So that was the highlight, the good way to end it for me. I actually, that was the most memorable part of the whole thing. But overall, I still enjoyed it. It's not one that I'm gonna stick away and never listen to again. This is actually one that I'll probably keep around for a little bit. I'll probably listen to some other. There's a ton of stuff came out this weekend, so I'm sure I'll listen to all that and then go back to this one, which is a good sign, because a lot of times I'll get something and I'll never go back to it ever again, which is kind of what I did with all the remakes they did. It was fun listening to what they did with the first 3 albums, but I have not once gone back and listened to them since. So this I don't think will fall into that category. But anyway, that's my quick little take on it. Don't want to let this run too long, so I'm going to get back to listening and let you guys comment on anything you want to say about Bonfire, what you think of the band, any concert experiences or anything you have with the band. Always share that too. It's always fun stuff. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Keep this music alive, because I did enjoy this, even though, happens with a lot of bands. It's just not always what you're hoping it's going to be, but it still ended up being pretty good. So anyway, until next time, we will see you.